Welcome to AKHANDATA Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. AKHANDATA, integrated state of homeostasis and perfect health. My mission, the impeccable wisdom, knowing which everything is fully known. My greatest discovery, Divyank, the divine design of nature, with which the perfect objects are designed and created. Health. An absence of disease is not health. Things have changed over the period with the definition of health. Even World Health Organization, WHO, has redefined definition of health. Let's understand what according to AKHANDATA would be the perfect health. The integrated health includes perfect physical health, disease-free, absolutely no doubt, the perfect emotional stability, perfect EQ to get along with everybody with equilibrium and equanimity with a calm and quiet is essential for successful life. Mental health and equilibrium. Without perfect mental health and equilibrium, it's difficult to make optimum use of our real self. Integrated social and religious health. Society and religion are part and parcel of our being. Both are helping us to be a better human being in the service of humanity. So integration of social health is equally important. Self-realization and spiritual enlightenment. Some people may or may not agree, but in my opinion, self-realization, spiritual enlightenment is mandatory, and this is the one which can make us make optimum use of our own life. Human birth is designed for spiritual enlightenment and self-realizations. Last but not the least, flawless education from school, college to the university to research and impeccable wisdom should be called perfect health. So, with this definition, let's see how does nature help us to achieve an integrated health in totality. AKHANDATA. AKHANDATA means total integrations. Homeostasis is something which is well known in the scientific world, physiology, and integrated health. Let's understand the definition of homeostasis. Continuous maintenance of external and internal environment of the body within the perfect limits of human psychophysiology. That means what is perfectly designed of a human being, anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry, it should be perfect, should be maintained 24/7, and our relationship with the external world as well as internal world should be fine. For the human body, external world is what we see outside. But within the body, we have another way of looking at it as an external and internal. That means intracellular fluid is our internal world. Extracellular fluid is the external world. Because everything comes from the extracellular fluid to intracellular fluid, and equilibrium of both has to be maintained. And what is that to be maintained, which plays very, very important for health, wealth, wisdom, and happiness? There are 10 variables which have been internationally accepted. They play an important role in integrated health. Number one, water, hydrostatic state of the cell, body, and the earth. As I've been saying from the day one, according to Divyank, the perfect value on the earth, in the human body, and cellular level should be 61.8034. If we can maintain that, even as when we grow old, we can be perfectly healthy. Actually, aging is nothing but dehydrated state of water. Water content comes down. But if we can maintain the water content to same level, all our cells will work as perfectly as they were working when we are 21 years old. That is one thing which I would recommend to everybody. Maintain water content to this level. You'll have nothing to worry about much. With the water comes blood volume, where again is 5 liters. which is almost 7% of the body's weight. Blood, sodium potassium ions also play a very important role in maintaining the equilibrium between intracellular and extracellular. We are going to see that. Hormone levels also should be within the physiological limits. Then you'll have no problem. All the functions will be normal. Mean arterial blood pressure should be 93 mm of mercury. If that is maintained, if you go to ICU, focus will always be on mean arterial blood pressure, not systolic and diastolic. And ideal blood sugar 24/7, if we can maintain to 111 milligram per 100 ml of blood, you will be perfectly healthy, no problem at all. Partial pressure of oxygen also plays important. Partial pressure of carbon dioxide also plays important. Acid-base balance of pH 7.4 is the ideal. Body temperature 37. If all these 10 variables are maintained to this level 24/7, I can tell you, you could curtail aging, even reverse aging, and prevent all the common problems day to day and lead a perfectly healthy, wealthy, and wise, happy life. And now and the balance of these two is called homeostasis. You can see if increase is there, decrease comes on. And this particular symbol of Agnya Chakra is associated with brain stem and spinal cord. All the survivals of variables of homeostasis are located in brainstem only, and their association with spinal cord. Now, as I've been telling from the homeostasis, there are two mechanisms: negative feedback mechanism and positive feedback mechanism. Negative feedback mechanism, the main thing which have to be kept in mind is the cause and effect are in the opposite direction. If blood pressure goes up, system tries to bring the blood pressure down. If the blood pressure comes down, system tries to bring it to the normal level. And variables which are very important with negative feedback mechanism are blood sugar, blood pressure, acid-base balance, temperature, and many other homeostasis examples are there, which are rectified with the help of negative feedback mechanism. Positive feedback mechanism, the cause and effect are in the same direction. We have already spoken about this in child delivery, and where as the head fixes into the cervix, signal goes to the brain to produce more oxytocin, release oxytocin, more contraction, and the cycle goes on till delivery is achieved. Ideal example or perfect example is this. But there is a bad example too, because of which is called vicious cycle or invariably leading to. Suppose there are 5 liters of blood, lose 1 liter of blood from the body, it can be rectified with the negative feedback mechanism. Suppose there is 2 liters of blood is lost from the body, person can die if not treated immediately because of positive feedback mechanism, and tries to mobilize from everything, but in the process tries to increase the heart rate, increase the blood pressure, and that could strain the heart so much and person could die. But then nature also tells you how to go about it. So when there is a blood loss, immediately replace with some blood, if not at least glucose normal saline, keep it healthy so that positive feedback does not come to play a role, and negative it should be able to mobilize. We will be talking about it in detail later when come to cardiovascular system. Human body percentage, as I told you, solid matter should be 38.19, that is the principle, and water should be this. And in case, as I told you, red blood cells, all the organelles are replaced by hemoglobin 35%. Since cell cannot have more than 38.2% of solid and it's replaced by 35, rest of the organelles have been removed, including mitochondria and others, including nucleus. Now, intracellular fluid is 61.80. Extracellular, outside that, is interstitial fluid 31% and blood or plasma 7.1966. 38, this and this. If this is 100% of the water content, I'm not talking about solids, 61.80% of 61.80% is that easy. If this is maintained, I'm sure we'll have no problem whatsoever. Body will function optimally. Glucose plays a very important role in health. Water, glucose, sodium potassium pump. Now, as I told in the beginning, the perfect blood glucose level should be 100 milligram per 100 ml RDL, and range could be 100 to 125. The fasting 100 and postprandial 125. If you can maintain that, average will be 111, and that is ideal. Lower range is 80 milligrams and higher range could be 140. That also we can come back to normal without much of an effort. There is something called allostatic state, other states. Lower limit for that is 68 milligram and highest limit is 180 milligram. And it has been observed that renal threshold value is 180 milligram only. More than that, they will have a problem. And for a pathostatic state, it could be 42 hypoglycemic or 291 hyperglycemic, which could be dangerous. We need to treat them, and they require treatment because they are the cases of diabetes mellitus on the higher side and hypoglycemic. And that is a problem, and this can be rectified with Divyank diet alone and water content. Calcium plays another important role in the body, and calcium homeostasis is to be maintained, and thyroid gland and parathyroid gland try to help it to maintain the particular level. Normal calcium is between 9 to 11 milligram, and if you can maintain that, is absolutely no. When it goes up, thyroid gives calcitonin and is mobilized to the bones. When it is hypo, then parathyroid comes to mobilize to increase it to the normal level. This vicious circle has to be kept in mind, and if we can maintain intake of calcium and phosphate is absolutely fine. But here also I have tried to, the ratio between calcium, serum calcium and serum phosphate is also 38.1966% and phosphate is 61.86. It's a nature design. If there is a problem, calcium and phosphate given in that ratio would be absorbed better and assimilated better, and regeneration can be much better, equilibrium can be much better, a homeostatic state can be achieved much better. This is also something which I like everybody to understand and remember. Sodium, potassium also ions play a very important role in maintaining equilibrium, because intracellular it is potassium and extracellular it is sodium. And I've given an example of an equilibrium potential where sodium, when action takes place, gets into the cell, and how it is brought out with the help of sodium potassium pump is something which but all the books say 3 ions of sodium are moved out of the cell in exchange for 2 ions of potassium. This 2 to 3 ratio is also Divyank ratio only. But according to Divyank, if it could be 34 sodium and 21 potassium, another factor which comes to play a role, the atomic weight of both would be in the ratio of 22 into 21. As a result, without AT pump, they can still work as a fulcrum. That is something which I'll talk about it later when we talk in terms of Nernst equation or equilibrium potential in detail. But here I have also highlighted Nernst equation says uses a log of 61 log. But I don't know whether any book ever explained why 61 log has been used, not any other log. But I understand from my voice of silence, because they had water in mind. Because we are talking of solution intracellular as a extracellular. And water plays an important role, and water has to be 61.8%. A log of 61.8034 will be a better and give better results of perfect equilibrium potential than 61 alone. This rectification can also be done, should be done. Mean arterial blood pressure, as I told you, 93 mm is the ideal. Systolic blood pressure 120, diastolic blood pressure 74, pulse pressure, which is the difference between systolic and diastolic, is 46. Now, when we calculate mean arterial blood pressure, the normal formula which books give is diastolic blood pressure plus 1/3 of pulse pressure. But according to Divyank, it should be diastolic blood pressure of 74 plus 38.1966% of 46, which is 19 mm. So 93 is ideal, and I'm glad in ICU, cardiologists know it's a 93 which is more important than systolic blood pressure and diastolic. Intuitively, they have directly and indirectly, but I'm trying to explain why 93 is ideal based on Divyank ratio. Partial pressure of oxygen at sea level is 160 mm of mercury. Alveolar level, it is 100 mm. And venous blood level should be 38.196. And the value which books give are more or less the same thing. I'm just highlighting the Divyank ratio which is maintained. You can see that very clearly. Now, I'm sure these 10 variables of blood water percentage of 61.80, blood volume of 5 liters or 7% of the body weight, glucose level of 111 milligram average, and fasting 100 and postprandial 125 could be ideal so that you don't suffer from hypoglycemia or hyperglycemia, which could be both bad. We have already talked about glucose homeostasis, and calcium around 10 milligram. If maintained throughout, you'll have absolutely no problem, because calcium plays very important role in bone, teeth, and blood clotting mechanism, as well as this particular neuromuscular junction and muscular contraction. So if you want muscles to be strong, nerves to be strong, calcium has to be maintained. And if it is hypoglycemic, you lead to latent tetany or full-fledged tetany. That should be avoided, and for perfect homeostasis. When it comes to mean arterial blood pressure, it's 93. Partial pressure of oxygen should be maintained, and I have been telling from the very beginning, a respiration had been designed in such a way, inspiration lasts for 38 point and expiration for 61 point. 61.8% carbon dioxide should be expelled out during those particular expiratory phase, and the ratio is again Divyank ratio. So somewhere along the line, I'm glad I'm able to bring integrated anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry with the help of Divyank and say these are the perfect values. Others are imperfect, and we can try to bring it back to the perfect homeostatic state for a perfect health, wealth, wisdom, and happiness. Same thing for pH also. 7.4 is the ideal. Little this side, little that can be rectified. But it goes beyond a particular level, there could be a problem. And acid-base balance has to be there. So is hormone levels. So is the body temperature. All the 10 variables, if we keep an eye from young age to the old age and make sure that we are completely hydrated pretty well, we do not suffer from dehydration, we'll have no problem with blood pressure, we'll have no problem with anything. If the sodium potassium ratio is also maintained, glucose ratio is maintained, I don't find any reason why we should be suffering from different health issues. So as a result, we come back to original physical health, emotional health, mental health, spiritual health, religious health, social health. Only when you are perfectly healthy, we can contribute towards the world peace by and large. The whole objective of AKHANDATA Vidyashram is to bring impeccable wisdom of this nature, knowing which they can try to maintain that with the help of diet and other lifestyle changes so that we are perfectly physically healthy. Unless until we are physically healthy, we can't make optimum use of our emotions, our mind, intellect, and intuitive knowledge to help ourselves, help the world. So at the end, akhandata is absolutely essential. So to make optimum use of human potential, akhandata, maintaining perfect health and homeostasis is absolutely. So from pendant to akhandata, I think is a good move. So next we should move on to the other thing to explain things in a better way. So new medical doctors and others can understand and apply in day-to-day life. So thank you very much for kind listening and encouraging. Thank you.